We're gonna go to a map that I've already done on the recordings, but I like it because it's a good open space that doesn't have too many nooks and crannies.
Hey, good. I was about to say, can we do like a map and not like a car or
Yeah,
something?
that would also be
Ooh.
really quick, you know? Like cleaning a
Yeah.
car with two people is just like spray it down and it's so super
So,
quick.
should we speed run it at the end? Any
Alright.
percent. Just
But yeah,
dirt bike percent.
35%. You ever see those like meme category speedruns like in Mario Odyssey nipple percent,
They look so much fun.
right? It's looks so cool. I've done a few speedruns of Kingdom Hearts, as it comes as a shock to you, I'm sure.
You
Um,
you played Kingdom
yeah,
Hearts?
and I've speedrun it too. It's crazy.
Wow, that's
It's
crazy.
crazy that someone who plays Kingdom Hearts like all the time would eventually speedrun the game. But I mainly did it because I wanted to get world record in a category no one runs. Like
That is the exact kind of thing I'd do.
literally, absolutely nobody runs it because it's such a terrible category. And like I wasn't like I didn't get a terrible time either. Like I had to beat literally the entire game. It was less. It was more than any percent, but less than 100%. Um, and it took me about 5 hours, I think. I did a couple of runs of it. I haven't done it in a while, but there's not
What
really
percent
a
was it?
what.
What percent was it?
So
What speed run
basically,
was it?
in Kingdom Hearts 2, there's an all worlds percent where you have to go to every single world in the game and complete it. Even the ones that are absolutely garbage that no one actually needs to do. Like there's one where you go to like Little Mermaid's world, right? Where
Yeah.
you do a rhythm game that is like you can't put on YouTube because Disney will strike down your channel because
Oh
it's
no.
got like copyright
Is it
songs in it.
NBC?
And I'm just like, all right, well, that's annoying. And then there's also um, like a mini game world, and then a world where you're playing as a lion from Lion King. Those
Right?
three worlds you don't actually have to go to in the main story to beat the game,
Nice.
but in the all worlds percent you did. And like those three worlds are probably my least favorite.
But you did it anyway.
But I did it anyway.
So you could do your
Get the world
stupid
record.
percent.
But it was fun. I did enjoy it. It's just like I would look at the time and it'd be like, man, if I didn't have to do these three worlds that would take forever, that are really boring, I would be like have so much quicker time. It's cool though on the PC version. There is like they allow a speed run using a specific mod that gets rid of like auto scroller sections of the game, which just like you can't make that any faster if you tried.
Well,
So
yeah.
they're like, yeah, we can just get rid of those because no one likes them and they don't have any skill whatsoever. You just keep pressing X.
Understandable.
Yeah, but
I
I haven't done that, so
I think the only I'm trying to think. I've speedrun Slime Rancher. That's a
hmm
fun one. Just because it's like really quick. Like world record is, there's no glitches, so it's not that difficult. There's like a little bit of tricky parkour,
hmm
and the scariest thing of all is probably having to do math.
Oh,
Um,
math. Oof.
but like I think the world record's something like 12 minutes.
Yeah.
So, um,
Personally, I like glitchless speedruns because it's like I know that people are like, oh yeah, you're just complaining because like you don't want to learn how to do the glitches, and I guess some people are
absolutely
like
true
that.
for me.
Absolutely
So,
true, but like also, like the Fallen Order speedruns, I don't like. I don't like watching them. I don't ever imagine I would ever like doing them. It's just like they don't play the game. Like they just jump over literally any obstacle you could see, and boom, you're done. And like they don't even fight any of the bosses. And
very interesting.
like when I watch the speedrun, I was like, oh, let's see how good they are at the bosses. And it's just like they perform a very specific glitch that just makes it so you don't have to fight the bosses. I'm like, well, that's stupid.
I've seen the part of the speed run where like the bounty hunters take you to the like the arena
Mm-hmm.
planet ship thing. I forget. I haven't played Fallen Order in a bit, but and they just like dodge around them really tactfully. But I remember I was not a big fan of the speedrun itself. I watched a series that was Fallen Order, but I think it was I'm not allowed to use my lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I found that series really interesting because it used like speedrun strats as little as possible, but where necessary, and it would explain it and stuff like that. And I
That's
found that
interesting.
I found that good because it was and it was quite an entertaining series.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because I think because there was still like that challenge run element of it, and it was um, yeah, just really good.
Yeah. I started doing a permadeath of Fallen Order. I know, it's a
Oh yeah,
stupid idea. I haven't, like,
I've seen you do stupider. No
yeah,
offense.
I've done dumber things. I would say it's more realistic than Kingdom Hearts 2 permadeath. Which, I mean, if you haven't played Kingdom Hearts 2, you'd probably be like, alright, that doesn't make sense, but okay. But no, it's more realistic than that. Having done a couple runs already, I'm like, yeah,
Oh, really?
I can see me doing this pretty quickly if I actually gave it the time. I haven't done a
Yeah.
run though in I think a couple months now
Oh no.
because
Gonna be rusty.
I started doing the videos, right, and then I began working on a third video, which was my best run so far, which I got through like half the game, and the footage got corrupted, so like I lost the entire progress
No.
of the video, and I'm like, my goodness, it's so annoying that, and so I ended up just scrapping it. I'm gonna go back and do another run eventually, but my goodness, I had even asked in my Discord if they would allow a mod that lets you like start a new game with all of the like perks, because New Game Plus, in my opinion, should work like that.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't in Fallen Order. It just makes it so you keep your ponchos, which is really stupid. Like, why would you really care about that?
I mean, I tell the truth, I did go through Fallen Order and get all the collectibles.
Oh yeah, I
But
mean,
that's
it is
was
part of the
more
game.
mostly because I wanted all the lightsaber parts,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, well, I'm not gonna skip the part of the tutorial video where they get the poncho stuff,
Right.
or the BD1 stuff, or the ship stuff. Um,
Yeah, that's
like,
fair.
because that would take more time than it would save me probably.
Mm-hmm.
Like working out which bit was which and such. Um, and to be fair, I didn't. Ponchos are fun, but they're not gonna make a huge difference in New Game Plus, are
Right.
they?
No, they really aren't. And like you don't keep any of your perks in New Game Plus. Like none of them. I'm like, why? That is how it works for pretty much every other game that has New Game Plus. Like I
Yeah, and
don't understand it.
like Mass Effect doesn't have New Game Plus, but abilities you use a lot in one playthrough you can reuse in a different one, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's the case in Mass Effect 1. So you can run like biotic abilities on a non-biotic character and like tech abilities in a biotic. It's
Oh,
pretty
interesting.
good. Um,
I've only finished a playthrough of Mass Effect once. It was my first playthrough, and I did the like without using my gun playthrough, and I just never finished it because I got burnt out of it.
fair
Because I
play.
started immediately after finishing the third game, and I was like, oh my goodness, I can't.
Fair play.
um, but it is a good game. I would recommend Mass Effect for anyone who hasn't played it.
Oh yeah, but I'm massively biased because I'm a
Right.
huge fan.
That's like me saying, I would recommend Kingdom Hearts to anyone who hasn't played it. It's like, yeah, obviously I'd recommend it if it's like, I have days worth of playtime in it. Like maybe even weeks worth of playtime in it. I can't, because it's hard to calculate exactly how much time I've played in it throughout
Yeah,
like all the different versions of the game.
that's what I have with Skyrim. I just have no idea.
Because like the first game in the series came out on the PS2. I played it on the PS2. and I played it on the PS3, and I played it on the PS4, and then I played the PC version. And I know for a fact I had at least 300 hours in the PS3 version alone
Boy,
of Kingdom
that's
Hearts 2.
a lot of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. And so if like plus what I've done on the PC version and on the PS4 version, and when I was doing permadeath, which took me over a year to do,
My God.
again the mentality doing challenge runs though is like I can beat this. I know I can beat this. It's just a matter of smashing my head into the wall until it breaks.
I guess I just value my head too much.
Yeah, that's fair. You know. Some people wouldn't do that, but I would rather. I heard it in another Challenge Runners video where they were playing Pokemon Emerald, but I think they were doing it like where they couldn't directly attack. It was really strange.
Yeah, I've seen that kind of thing. Yeah.
And they said there's a quote in it where they're like, I would I would smash a door down with my head until it opened before checking if the door was even locked.
That is classic Pokemon challenge runs.
Yeah. So that's the kind of mentality I get into as well with challenge runs. It's just like I can do it. I know. There's probably easier ways of doing it, but I know this one will work eventually.
In fact, I do really enjoy like theory crafting on challenge runs, trying to work out like the best way to do things. I think that's a big appeal for like Pokemon Nuzlocke for me. Is just working out in my head or out loud like what's going to be a good strategy here, what's my win condition,
Right.
And having to come up with that myself is just in tricky situations against the odds is always super fun for me.
There's very few games that I can like look. I know what the challenge is. I can think about all the different ways I can like accomplish it easier that I might have to go out of my way for. Like there's very few games I can think that I know like okay I need this because this will help me for this reason. But there are some, you know.
Yeah.
Like I think that's kind of what I was doing with Fallen Order Permadeath. Is I was like, okay, I know I can get the double bladed lightsaber early if I go out of my way to get this and this and this.
Yeah. Interestingly, I did that in my first playthrough of Fallen Order anyway because I really liked the double bladed lightsabers and I'd seen it like I didn't play it on release, so I'd seen some footage and I saw Cal using a double bladed lightsaber and I was like, I need Gib, and I looked up how to get it as quick as possible, and Dathomir did whoop my ass.
Yeah, Dathomir early game is tough.
Yeah.
So...
but I was so glad once I got it, because I just
felt cool. There's two different places you can get it. One is a little bit easier, but it's later in the game. It's... If you get the Scomp... Excuse me. If you get the Scomp Link upgrade... for BD1, you can go back to Bogano and get it from Cordova's study.
Oh, interesting.
And so it's a lot easier to do it that way than going to Dathomir. And it's like, it's not super far in the game, it's after Zephyr 1 you can go and do it.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I guess I just didn't really go back to Bogano that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's actually a few cool things on Bogano that, like, if you didn't know were there, it's like, oh, that's neat.
I mean, I know that now because I obviously went and got all the collectibles.
Right.
So I went, did that place inside and out, trying to get everything sorted.
And then there's also, like, getting all the stim canisters. It's like, okay, I know these stim canisters are available to me at this point in time, so I'll get the ones I can.
Yeah, rushing stem canisters seems like a great idea for that kind of game, and doing a challenge run in it.
Mm-hmm. I've done actually a challenge run of it already. I did, like, I couldn't use my force powers, except I couldn't use the force powers in combat.
Alright.
So, like, I couldn't use the, like, overhead slash, or I couldn't use the split saber. So I was really just limited to the base attack and the sprint attack. And
sounds tricky.
I did it on Grandmaster because, you gotta play this on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, I think that's the reason I didn't do challenge mode for that game is because I found it tricky enough on like lower difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and doing challenge runs on not the most difficult difficulty is sucky. I hate it.
Right.
It feels like so much less of an achievement. Like I don't do nuzlocke that aren't hardcore nuzlocke anymore because it just
Right.
seems it's not tricky to me.
Yeah.
Like
I get that.
I feel it's just I, I feel like the training wheels you just can't really put them back on, without it
Mm-hmm.
feeling like you're a grown adult riding a bike with training wheels. Um,
Right. I get what you mean because I like I said before, I was doing the DLC of Kingdom Hearts 3, which I've never completed. A lot of the DLC is just like really tough bosses. Um, and I was talking to another streamer earlier today. They're like, "You're on Proud Mode, which is like the second hardest difficulty, which in that game it's like super easy." And I was like, as if I would play on anything other than crit, which is the hardest difficulty.
yeah, yeah,
And they're like, you know what? You're right. I forgot who I was talking to.
yeah. Yeah, that's the thing I was mentioning. My brother's playing through Mass Effect, and I've beaten the entire trilogy on Insanity, which
Mm-hmm.
is the hardest difficulty. And watching him, like, it's so weird because there's stuff I just you can't afford to do in that. Like, Mass Effect's difficulty definitely scales with which teammates you bring for the missions.
Right.
And it's weird. I'm almost jealous that he can play with these characters because I literally just you can't get away with it so much unless you're like really unbelievably good.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets so much more difficult if your like squad mate picks don't match up well for the mission or don't synergize that well or
Mm-hmm.
it's really and I'm
Right.
just jealous now. I'm like, damn, you get to use that character. Oh, I haven't used that character since 2014, man. Like
Wow.
it's
I'm. I was thinking, the slight spoilers, I guess, for Mass Effect One. There's a certain choice where one person dies and one person doesn't. You know what I'm talking about?
yes, yeah,
Is
yeah, on
it,
Valhalla, yep.
is that decision impacted based on difficulty for you? Like, if it's on harder difficulties, do you prefer one of them over the other to keep alive because they're better?
Weirdly, no. Like I think they're both. I don't really use either of them.
That's
Like
fair. I remember
it's just down to preference.
I didn't use either of them. I don't think either in my playthrough. And I was like, yeah, these people are useless. They keep dying. They're like Donald.
I, 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 I think I'm just gonna say who it is
Mm,
because uh, I think Cade. To be fair, they're both bad in one. For me, I think, but I found use for them. They're decent in three.
uh-huh.
Um, I think there's no one like Ashley in three though. Whether is more people like Caden in three.
Right.
So I guess Ash is slightly better, but then Ashley has some controversial opinions that I don't agree with.
Yeah,
So
I remember playing through Mass Effect 1 my first time. Like, whenever Ashley spoke, I was like, I hate you.
yeah, yeah.
Like, I've never thought they were an interesting character who was, you know, not, not racist. You know?
Exact. I mean, yeah. I think there are so many just more in like when you can have Erdnot Rex in your squad.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And he's a tank who wields guns well. Why would you want Ashley unless you're having, I guess, both of them at the same time? But
Yeah.
I
I,
then you're not really building a squad that smartly, in my opinion.
I
So
think most of the time I played with Liara and Erdnot Rex on my team.
that's a solid combination.
Cause like,
Liara is probably combat-wise the best squad mate, I think.
mm,
Like her singularities and her lifts, especially if Shepard isn't a biotic in that game,
mm-hmm.
are just so useful.
Right.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really helpful, especially when I was doing the no guns challenge. Like, I remember
My
using
goodness,
her,
yeah.
and it was like, that's super good. Like, having those biotic abilities on your side.
Yeah, what class did you pick
I
when you were...
picked, I think it was Technician. It was one of the ones that are better
Oh,
at biotics. If I'm
oh,
not,
Vanguards or Adepts?
I honestly can't
Or,
remember.
or Sentinel?
It might have been Sentinel. I remember they were
That makes sense, actually.
They were decent at tech, and they were really good at biotics. Is all I can remember.
Yeah, that would have been a Sentinel.
Yeah, and so I was like, I for the
Sorry,
um
if anyone listening or watching hasn't played Mass Effect, Biotics are like the Space Force. Like, BioWare just made a Star Wars game and didn't want to give up the Force for their characters.
right.
Is basically it. So they just sort of built in the Space Force that comes out of an implant in your brain. Um, it's
Is it ever explained how humans can use it? Because not all humans can. Like, is it something that they're given synthetically?
Yeah, it's like an implant, but then some people are more talented at gifted at using the implant, I think. I can't
Uh,
remember.
so it's like yeah, it's just like the Force. Some Jedi who are humans kind of suck unless they're really well trained.
Yeah, exactly. It is in so many ways the Force. Um, it's yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah,
How do you get up? Oh, there's a ladder. I'm
yeah,
so
for it.
stupid. I've been doing
You didn't parkour to get to the wall.
some mad parkour.
Yeah, that's I've done that before, so it's reasonable.
Sometimes you just forget about all the tools you have at your
Yeah,
disposal.
it's like I got a power wash and I got my own two legs.
It's, don't need nothing else.
But I definitely on this map as well. I did definitely like utilize parkour a lot. I remember when I was doing this was the map I did with Ethan, and
Uh,
we were like I was running around jumping on things. He's like, "How are you doing that?" I'm like, jump, run and jump." Uh, it seems like
just
another person
the
is.
least helpful parkour instructor. Like, how do you do that?
I just do it.
Run and jump. It's
uh,
splat.
so I see the devs left another message.
Oh,
It
wow, that's
says,
crazy.
"Hi,
That's crazy.
Jeebins, Srum devs." Is that
Yeah,
is that meant to be an R? SROM. Is that even a word?
I don't know. It's the devs, bro.
Uh
Now you're looking at me.
huh. I just thought you might know.
I don't do game development, man.
You know what?
I'm flattered that you think I could do that, but I'm just I'm not talented enough.
I guess that's fair. Yeah, it's a lot of work to make a game, especially make a game that interacts with you by typing out your name in the wall.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's and knows when it's being recorded.
Hmm. Like I can't even imagine the kind of uh, technology that requires.
Yeah, me neither, bro. I'm just gonna get rid of it so we stop talking about it.
Alright, that's fair. That's fair.
It's
But yeah,
nice.
it's strange. You know, I said earlier that like people call me a pro gamer, and it's that's weird to me. You know, like it's weird to me that people unironically say that about me.
Yeah, I mean, when you take a game seriously enough, it just kind of happens, though, doesn't it?
Right? Oh my gosh.
Oh, I
Alright.
just remembered that right click does toggle. Oh my god, that feels so much better.
Oh yeah, that I. So when I started playing this game, right, I started playing it in class. Uh, because
Wow.
it was something
With
that
student Jeevins over there.
I know it was something to keep my hands busy while I listened to online class,
That
because
play.
it's hard for me to pay attention without doing something,
Mm-hmm.
and so I would sit here and
Oh,
just
I'm a bad doodler. I
yeah,
remember I got in trouble with one of my lecturers this year because she'd just been like lecturing for like half an hour and I had some notes, but
Mm-hmm.
I most definitely um, got caught doodling in the margins because I feel like when I'm concentrating, I just need my hands to do something. Otherwise, it's not going in.
Right. Yeah. Back in school now? I know it started for some people.
Oh, I graduated on
Oh,
Friday.
you graduated? Nice, man.
It's no school for me.
I dropped out, so
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
I was gonna go into another semester this fall. I guess I would have already been in now. Um,
mm-hmm.
but I was gonna go in person, and I don't have my driver's license yet. We haven't finished. I haven't finished learning. And I didn't want to rush.
Right.
I didn't want to rush it, and I didn't want to be like, well, I gotta switch to online classes last minute because I would get stuck with the table teachers again.
Yeah.
Um, I think I probably told you about my dis not my unluckiness with some of my teachers that I had.
I don't think I've heard this.
Okay, so I had a teacher who didn't actually teach anything. They were just like, yeah, read the assignments and do the work. And I was like, okay. And then one time I had a question, and he's always saying, like, if you have questions, just ask me. That's why I'm here, because I don't actually do my job. Like, he literally would say those exact words.
Right.
Um, and so I would have a question I would ask, and he just wouldn't answer it. And I'm just like, excuse me, I had a question.
That's some good education right there.
Like, you have literally one job, and you're not doing it.
Oh God, especially how much you guys have to pay over there for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like, I'm
That's
paying you to be in this class, and you can't answer a simple question? Like,
that's. I was very lucky with my lecturers. That they were very good, very knowledgeable.
mm-hmm,
I think my only complaint would be that sometimes we got taught like really good, like useful information, but
mm-hmm,
then some of our assignments wouldn't be that related to what we had been learning about. So we'd have to do a lot of research and explore a lot of topics independently of like our lectures to
mm-hmm.
get good grades. like but I guess that's just a good way of us like ending up covering more stuff, and they were always super supportive if we didn't get it.
Right.
Um, and I also got blessed with lecturers that were really kind when I messed up my time management and needed extensions.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
like, so that was always a huge relief.
you would think that, community college would be like that. Because I go to community college, right?
Hmm.
And they went. Like, I had maybe one or two teachers that whole time I was there who actually gave a crap about the people they were teaching.
Oh no.
Like, and those teachers are really cool, but like everyone else, like, they're terrible. Like, they're not even good at their jobs either.
Yeah, that's not great.
The
that's
the one teacher I mentioned before who just didn't answer my question, even though it was literally his only job during class, is
yeah.
he there was a student who was in the class. We had like a group chat with everyone in the chat in the class, like that wasn't on Zoom. And
Hmm.
there was one student who was like, "This man's the reason I'm high at 9 in the morning."
Oh my god.
And I'm just like, you know what? That's fair because this guy is so awful.
I never did like uni under the influence of any like illegal drugs, but I remember in my second year, there was just this one afternoon that was really boring. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was probably our least interesting um, module,
Right.
and it was taught by like someone who's doing maternity cover.
Okay.
Um, and they weren't necessarily a natural. They tried really hard, and they actually did care, but they just weren't very engaging.
Right.
Like you could tell they cared, but it didn't necessarily translate directly in the lectures.
Mm-hmm.
In the lectures, and we all went out for lunch because we were in that morning as well, in our schedule that year. And obviously, college over here is, or uni is, you do one subject, right?
Right.
You like the whole way through. So you have like your friends from your course the whole way through. And we went out to lunch, and we went to a pub, and I was like, well, when in Rome, I'll have a beer. And
Mm-hmm.
then I got a second one because I ran out of that one halfway through when I was eating. And then and then someone was like, "Oh, Ollie, get a third one." And I was like, "Well, all right then,
Mm-hmm.
I'll cave to peer pressure this once." Um, and yeah, and then I come back to the table with it, and then like down it. So then I have to do that because like peer pressure, and I want to look cool.
Right. Of course.
So yeah, but then I did like 3 hours of a lecture and a seminar on my least favorite module, and I never paid so much attention in my life, Jevons, because like I was so scared of getting caught. I was so hyper alert. I was like putting my hand up to answer questions just so like to try and throw the suspicion off me is that I looked like I was with it and didn't want to like. It honestly, showing up to lectures drunk was my greatest learning strategy when I wasn't interested.
Wow.
Don't do it
Uh,
at home, kids. Can't recommend it. It's a terrible thing, but
yeah.
also it
I
totally
was
works.
I was about to say I can't condone that, especially where I live. It's depending on how far along you are, it's illegal.
Yeah, you guys can't drink until
Nah.
like
So
that's
21. There's
crazy.
like 3 countries in the entire world that is that old. Same 3 countries that have the imperial unit still.
That's
So
crazy.
it's like
Like,
so dumb
yeah,
because like literally people who live in upstate New York around Buffalo. You probably don't know where that is, having not.
you underestimate me. I know where that is.
Yeah, where is it?
It's in New York State. It's 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 sort of north of New York, but then a little bit further west, right?
Pretty accurately, I guess. I mean, uh,
It's hard to describe it.
it's like right on the border of Canada, right? So college students, they can just go cross the border. They got a passport. They can go across the border. They can get a drink. Literally, that's legal. You know, it's like why is it a 19 there? It's so dumb.
I mean, yeah, it's 18 here, which is like we.
Yeah, in different parts of Canada, it's either 18 or 19, depending on where you are.
Interesting.
In Ontario, it's 18, 19. I mean,
Yeah, so I when I turned 18, all the men in the family got together. We went to the pub,
hmm
and we all like had my first pint together.
nice.
Um, and yeah, I'm really glad I did that because if I had to wait to 21, like we would have been a man down because my granddad died that summer.
Ooh,
So like, shout out to England for having a sensible
yeah,
or a lower um,
right.
legal drinking age.
Like I don't even
So do
understand the
better.
reasoning for it. It's like, oh, because their brains aren't developed yet. Like, what the hell do you mean our brains aren't developed yet? We can go and fight your wars because we're apparently mature enough to have PTSD, but we're not mature enough to drink a pint of beer. Like, what's
Yeah,
wrong with you?
it's yeah, it's a little silly. It's but at least if you can pop over the the border. I
Right?
know I remember a while ago Jaden Smith when he turned 18 was like asked his dad to have his birthday party in London for that specific reason of like
I mean, that's fair. Like, if I
it's
could,
smart.
if I had the time and the money to take a plane ride over to the UK, I would. You know? But no, I don't have either of those things. I also don't have a passport, so there's that.
You don't have a passport?
No, I mean, I live in like the middle of the country, so like, where am I gonna go?
It's fair enough.
I used to live like pretty close to the border to Canada, and if you have a like enhanced driver's license or enhanced permit in New York, you can go like because if it's a border state, you can actually go across with that. That counts as like sufficient ID. So I was able to
Nice.
visit Canada a few years, but now since I don't live there, I don't have that anymore. So I would have to get a passport if I ever want to go back.
Canada's nice though.
Hmm. Like we went we went to Canada for my spring break one year. You know, not something you would expect. You'd think you'd go to like somewhere sunny or like a beach or something. You know,
I can't lie, spring break is like such an alien concept to me.
you don't have spring break.
No, well, I mean, we have like schools aren't on in that kind of time, but like this cultural phenomenon of like going to like a place to party is for like quote unquote spring break just isn't really a thing.
Crazy. I think it's just like, cause at least for me where I lived, it's still cold in spring break. Like I remember one
Yeah,
spring break, I had a track practice right during the break. It
yeah.
snowed, it's hailed, and it sleeted, and it rained all during that one practice. It was
Oh
awful.
God.
And they didn't decide to cancel or like go inside at all. Like it was we had to deal with it.
Yeah, that's that's that reminds me of like when I used to do like sports in school and
Hmm.
um it would be wet, raining,
Right.
snowing at times, and mid-December, and our sports teachers were like, "Yep, it's rugby time. Get out! Like, I want to see some good tackles," and we just like get back to the changing rooms,
Hmm.
covered and coated in mud and absolutely frozen to the bone, but it was a good time.
Yeah,
I
like
really enjoyed playing rugby.
I look back on those times where it's like, man, I was miserable, but it was fun.
I hope I do that about these times retrospectively.
Yeah, hopefully. Because, like, I remember there's one, I did track and field, and also did cross country in high school, right?
Yeah.
So there was one year I did cross country, and we had a track meet, or a cross country meet, I guess. I say track meet because it's just more natural to me. But we had to meet, it was on our home field advantage, except, you know, we didn't really have a course. We just kind of ran around for 3 miles, so it's not very
Uh,
great. But it was pouring down rain that day,
no.
and so like cross country uniforms, they're not like you don't have a whole lot of clothes on you. You're basically running around in your underwear. In like it wasn't freezing, but because we was soaked, it felt way
Yeah.
colder than it actually was.
And that only makes like the wind chill even worse, right?
Yeah. And like people were like it was bad. People were like falling down all over the place, like
Oh,
slipping.
no.
Like it should have been canceled, but my coach, being who she was like, "Nah, we can do it. We can take it." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah, the coach of that team was coincidentally the athletic director of the school. Uh, and so she kind of got away with whatever she felt like, and no one respected her. Like literally nobody.
God. I feel like some teachers just like that. Just command zero respect.
Like me, some of the people on my team, including myself, referred to her by her first name.
To be fair, that was always like a sign of respect in my school. Like, I don't know. We always, if first name basis was for teachers you were friends with, and you're only friends with teachers you respected.
Right, but
Um,
where I went to school, it was not the case. If you referred to a teacher by their first name, it was not a sign of like, "Hey, you're one of my friends. Like, I respect you." It was a sign
it's
of
like,
you're
hey,
not.
Carl.
It was a sign of like you're not an authority figure over me, sort of thing.
Oh, I guess it's the same thing, but mine is in a friendly way, and yours is
right?
just like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, like no
You're not worth my
no
respect.
one respected their like authority because they were just awful.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And so like they would tell us like, hey, you can't do this, and we were like, we're gonna do it anyway. It was also like really stupid rules that they would enforce as well. Like they were the only person in the entire school who would enforce these rules, and it's just like,
God, yeah, one of
what's
those.
wrong with you? No one likes this rule. It's pretty stupid. And like we would argue with them, we'd be like, that this is the reason why we think that's a dumb rule, and they're like, yeah, well, it's the rules. I'm like, that's a terrible reason to enforce the rules just because they are the rules.
It's like, why does it have to be this way? Because it is this way. It's like, no, you haven't told me why it is this way. You've
Yeah,
just repeated what I already know that this is a thing. Like
yeah. It's just so dumb. Like
yeah,
one of their rules that they would enforce is like, which is a pretty reasonable rule, but the only reason we didn't like it was because no one else followed it. Is that we couldn't, like, the guys couldn't take off their shirts in like the blistering heat of August, and because apparently it was like a co-ed team, the one girl that was on our team, it was enough to be like, you can't take off your shirts because that one person might be offended, even though they clearly weren't.
but we had that. So we had this policy of like summer uniform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have uniforms in all our schools pretty much in the UK. Um, and in like the summer term, we would if we had to ask permission, but we could undo our top buttons and like roll up our sleeves on
Uh-huh.
our shirts. And we had English this one year, and our teacher was South African, and she told us no, we weren't allowed to, and we were like, but it's boiling, and she was
Right.
just like, well, it's warmer than this in South Africa, and I was just like, that's a great story, good for them, I guess, or bad for them, I don't care.
Yeah.
None of us are used to South African temperature.
Right.
It's clearly so much warmer than what we're used to right now. I'm built like a sea lion. I'm built to keep heat in. Stop! Why are you doing this to me?
Right.
And she was wearing like something light and summery, and I was just like, it must be nice. You know what I mean?
It
It's
must be nice to actually be in comfortable clothing.
yeah. I'm basically in pseudo office attire right now,
Right.
and you're telling me I can't undo my top button? Like, really? It's
But I should preface the rule with like we couldn't take off our shirts. It was not during school hours. It was during after school practice. And
that
even
is
like
the
when
worst.
school hadn't even started yet and was still in the summer break, right? We still couldn't do it. And I'm like, what do you mean? Literally nobody else is here except us. There was one time that we got away with breaking the rule. Is because it was again pouring down rain in the month of August, and we were like,
Sounds delightful.
and this was practice, so we at least we had clothes on. But that was almost worse because we were soaked,
Yeah.
and they were like, all right, we'll allow this.
Gee, how generous, how kind of them.
Yeah. It's just so many of the things that they decided to do were just like were just obnoxious, really. That's why no one really respected them. Although I think that school did have a problem with kids not respecting authority, because even the vice principal people didn't respect. So it's that.
Yeah, I feel like. Yeah, no, I think the people who went to my school were pretty respectful, all in all, to be fair. Um,
But it
but
was also the sort of thing that like
although one year, like on their final day, people used bleach to burn the shape of a penis into into the like school yard. That was a good time.
I mean, who
Um,
doesn't do that on the last day of school? That's just like that's a rite of passage, all right? You gotta do it.
well, the thing is, like my school like properly cracked down on it. They were like calling the police on like students
Really?
that like literally just left for like criminal damages and
Wow.
like if something be argued that it was like illegal, then or like something got irreparably broken, then they were just like not nice about it. They went, "Oh, this is chill. Don't worry about it, guys. It was a criminal offense."
Wow. I don't think in my high school there was any issues like that, but I was only there for 2 years, so it's hard to say because I moved schools and then I was in virtual schooling and then I graduated early, so I was like, I have no clue what the other students got up to. Like after my sophomore year, I was like, they could literally be doing anything. I would not know. There's like so many little tiny spots that haven't been cleaned, you know?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
If you press tab, you can see the dirt,
Yeah,
but when it's so small, like it's hard to even tell with
it
tab.
is really hard to see.
So usually I just like keep my sprayer on and hopefully I accidentally hit it.
Yeah.
Because it's usually so small that anything will get, even like a small like nick of the power washer.
Oh, right, it's this one.
Okay, now we have, what is the fun box? Is this the fun box? No, it's a bowl. What is that?
I was. Hey, Jevons, want to go to the fun box with me?
No, that does not sound like something I
That was
would
too
do.
much enthusiasm on that. No, I'm a little offended.
Only a little offended?
Yeah, just
Okay.
a little bit.
What?
Right.
I have no clue
Rails.
what is the fun box. This is the fun box, apparently. Not entirely sure how this is considered a fun box. It's hardly considered a box.
I guess in skating terms it's a box, but
Skating.
there we go. What, rails? Oh
This
god,
rail
it's always
needs
the
to be
ones that has
cleaned.
like ×3 on it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like you gotta find 3 of them, and it's not fun. It's not the fun box.
Oh, I found a rail that needs cleaning.
Let me see. Okay, I think I found the last one then. Yeah, because we made pretty quick work of these. Do you want to do a third one?
Yeah, we were talking about like speed running a vehicle, but we could do that and something else if you wanted.
Yeah, we can do 4. Is that the rail that?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, we did it. Yippee.
We did it. Nice.
Cool. And these will be. I do have to edit these. I don't have a video out for tomorrow, so this might come out then.
Nice. Well, let me know.
Yeah. But
Right, is this Shrek's house?
it might be. I think there's talk about Bigfoot in the lore of this house.
Right, okay.
But I'm pretty sure it's just a really hairy homeless man.
He's been squatting for so many years. That's why it's such a mess.
Yeah. Like, there's look at like the story of this game. There's some weird shit going on. There's like monks
Really?
who like pissed off the mayor, so the mayor decides to cover their entire temple with manure.
Oh,
Like bottom to top, covered in manure.
that's. I was about to say, you know, I thought political figures would be more mature than that, but then,
Come on.
then I caught myself. You know, I brought myself back to reality.
Pretty sure this game takes place in America too. So what do you expect? Staying silent. Good call.
Dude, you think it's not that much better here, man.
I imagine so. There's nobody can get it right.
Yeah.
I I try to stay knowledgeable about what's happening, but like at the same time, there's just like so much. I'm like, is this really necessary to know?
Yeah, I was scrolling YouTube earlier, and I saw like a video of the time lapse of the 2017 invasion of the Gambia,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, when was there an invasion? Like, what? This is like five
Right.
years ago, and I still have like what? That happened?
Apparently.
It did. It did. Although it was a good invasion. It was like, we're all going to invade this country, so it actually acknowledges its elections.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Not just like
Yeah,
we.
normally you hear invasions, you're like, uh-oh.
It's like, uh-oh, what is this?
It was actually like a justified invasion. I was like, whoa.
That's fair. Alright. It's just interesting. It's like when people are in like the public eye, they forget how to be human. I think, you know.
It's, well, I feel like there's so much going on, so much pressure that, and there's limited resources to make decisions, and no
Mm-hmm.
matter what you do, you're gonna make mistakes. So you kind of just, I feel like you get too used to making mistakes, and then I don't even know at this point.
Yeah, no. I was thinking. I've talked previously about my distaste for J.K. Rowling, but as like a Harry Potter fan.
Yes, is that based on her comments towards the trans community?
That anti-Semitic comments, just like she's a
Oh, she's done that
terrible
too.
person. She's not great.
Honestly gave up following it. I never read Harry Potter, so I
Hmm.
very much separate the world from her because obviously she didn't have that big a hand in the movies.
Right.
Um, Obviously it's based on her source material,
I
but
think she
it's not like she
has.
directed it or.
I think she has a lot of the creative control over the Fantastic Beasts movies, which is why
They
the
suck
newest
ass.
one is just. I don't know if I'm allowed to get into why it's bad. Like it's you know how
I
it
haven't
says
seen it, but I don't
you,
plan on
you
because
know
I
how
watched
I
the
said
second one and it was dreadful.
right. You know how I said that she has some anti-Semitic comments. That
No.
kind of carries over to the movie.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I oh boy.
So like,
That's
whenever there's a new like Harry Potter project, I'm like, is this gonna be terrible because it's racist and awful, or is it gonna be not that? Hopefully that one.
it's it's so crazy because like I can still remember when it was just like, oh, why do people not like J.K. Rowling? Oh, it's because she's retroactively making characters like
Right.
gay, um, or black,
Oh
and
yeah,
people were like,
like her
and like
his statement like, oh no, there's nothing in the book that like says that Hermione isn't black. I'm like, the fuck you talking about? You wrote it. You obviously know that it describes her as pale.
yeah,
Like, what are you
and
talking about?
yeah, it's just, I like it's weird how like in some ways she tries to like make Harry Potter a more progressive thing whilst also being like the biggest pile of scum and villainy
Right?
that we've seen in a modern author. Like it's certainly in our generation. Like
I
I
I don't understand it. Like, how can you like? And also, like, they've made this thing like so many children grew up loving, and they're like, let's ruin it now. Let's make it so terrible.
I mean, it's interesting because she's so high profile that it's sort of made people have to have the debate with themselves about whether they can separate artists from their work. I think that's a really interesting thing that a lot more people have had to deal with.
Hmm.
Not that it's worth having a profile like influential celebrity saying pretty rancid transphobic things,
Right.
um, but I at least find it interesting that you know that sort of artistic debate has had to be had en masse because people are like, gee, I really don't like that woman.
Hmm.
She's just not a good person, but also I'm heavily invested in the world she built.
Right.
Right, I've done the outside fence. I think it's all clean.
That's great.
Um,
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. Is like they've also just created this world that's like so meaningful to a lot of people, and then be like, yeah, let's change like all these different things about it to ruin your perception of it, like
Yeah, well,
retroactively.
to be fair, I think that is an advantage of books, is that like sometimes even like when you miss words or misunderstand words, you have a very personal image of how things happened,
Mm-hmm.
um, or like what certain characters look like. Or I get this a
Right.
lot when like I have this with my Dungeons and Dragons podcast that I listen to. Like characters look and you know say things in a certain way
Mm-hmm.
or have certain relationships in certain ways that are unique to me that other people won't necessarily get because they might miss a word or I might miss something or I'll have my own perception and connotation surrounding words.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not. I don't know. I think when the whole like Hermione is black thing or um, I don't think you're necessarily doing a great job at representation if race is so interchangeable like that.
Right.
Like especially when Hermione's thing is that she's like, was it a Muggle born or something like that? I
Yeah.
forget the phrasing. Like, if you want to make racial commentary, it's right there. But J.K., you didn't. That's okay, but there's no need to like shoehorn it back in.
Right.
Um, but again, like I do think that you know,
I find it so strange too that there's like so many good things that like you would that imply that she actually knows what she's talking about in the books, and then when she like comes out on Twitter, it's like, what the hell happened? Like there's like the house elves. They're not really that prominent in the movies, but in the books, it's like there's a whole act that Hermione has to free the house elves from slavery, and how like she has to talk about how like there's characters that are like no they want to be enslaved and they're like no that's just what raised to believe that's not actually
yeah,
true which like that's straight up commentary on like civil rights and
yeah. I mean, you still hear like the famously bad take of like, you know, and like people were better off because they were taken in the slave trade, and it's just like,
nah,
I feel like you might be missing some key factors of that experience.
right
The slavery is a big one.
yeah that was
But
not
also,
great did you
but also
learn
like the pursuing, like the persistent impacts and racial divides in America. Like,
mm,
I was learning about cannabis on a YouTube video the other day,
mm-hmm.
and it's like I don't advocate for it myself, um, but like it was first introduced because people hated Mexicans and the I forget what the drug like part bunch of your government is called, but they literally were just like, we people don't really care about prohibition anymore, but we still need lots of funding. What are we going to demonize? What substance are we going to demonize? What do people hate? Mexicans. Let's
Wow
call it marijuana and
i
demonize it.
I had no clue that was a thing.
And yeah, it's also like targeted against like some black communities. Like, um, I think I forget it was Reagan or Nixon, but one of those were basically told, yeah, this like it's basically a harmless substance. Like it can cause paranoia and it can cause like it can slow brain development in people under the age of 25, but it's mostly harmless, a lot more harmless than some of the other stuff that's still legal.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, they basically, I don't want to get too political, but the war on drugs was such, I forget the exact quote, but dear Lord, how racially motivated the war on drugs was pretty, pretty outstanding.
Right.
It's not great. I not that I'm not trying to say the UK is good though.
Yeah, no. I'm sure every country probably has its problems if you look deep enough. I think
I mean,
people,
I feel like they're either old enough that they've made horrible mistakes, or they're young enough that they're still making those horrible mistakes.
right?
That's the two states of countries, and then you get like some. I guess they're always making mistakes, but like, yeah, that's
Hmm. I think there's something that I've seen a lot, at least on the internet. It's like, if you don't like it, why don't you just move? It's like that is not the solution either. Like, you probably you want to have like you want to create a world where like everyone is treated equally and things aren't terrible. Like you don't just like, oh, I don't like it here, I'm gonna just move, because like wherever you move there's still gonna be problems.
exactly, and you shouldn't have to move to have. I feel like that argument was used a lot when Roe v. Wade was overturned, for example.
Hmm.
I feel like that was, and that's not the solution
Right.
because that's, you know, what if you take your hand off the steering wheel, then you can't. I feel like you lose a certain level in which you can criticize the direction you're going in.
Hmm.
Perfect analogy,
Yeah.
but it's, but yeah, and it's just people have a response. I think some people feel they have a responsibility to stay to make their political opinions heard.
Hmm.
Because if you do go, you sacrifice your political opinion, like the weight of your political opinion in a
Right.
lot of ways. Because you don't get to vote in a new country, right?
Hmm.
Until you're a citizen.
Yeah,
So
so it's like you literally try moving countries because you don't like what's going on in yours just makes it so you can't do anything about problems later on when after you move. Like,
exactly.
also, if you want to hear more about, I'm sure you probably know a lot. You're pretty well informed. But if you want to know more about, like, or hear more about, Roe v. Wade or the choice versus life stuff, I actually have a podcast episode about that very topic.
Oh, really? I didn't
Hmm.
know you made such political content, but I'll
We
definitely give it a listen because I'm
we so
intrigued.
basically my podcast I have with my friend Ethan and Noah. We basically want to do it so like we have a few episodes here where we're like doing some goofy thing where we're talking about something that really doesn't matter, or,
Mm-hmm.
and then like every few episodes we want to do like a serious topic. So the first topic we did was actually abortion and like the choice versus life sort of thing, and just like
Yeah.
and honestly, all three of us had different opinions, and
Oh, interesting.
it didn't get sour. We had a pleasant conversation, which is how it should be. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you
Well,
can disagree with
I think it
people,
would make good listening if people got sour at each other. You know what I mean? Like
right?
it gets a little bit Fox Newsy, or like just when people just start squabbling at each other, it's just a
Right.
bit.
And it's when you get to like you don't agree with someone, so you're gonna just attack their person. Like that doesn't help your point. You
No.
know, it doesn't even hurt their point because you're just attacking them, not what they're arguing.
Yeah, it makes you look bad and weakens your point, if anything.
Which is, I think we talked briefly about that as well in the
Yeah.
episode. But I actually don't know when our next real talk episode is, but it should be soon. Actually, I'm thinking.
What were your opinions on it?
I said that they should be free to choose. It's their body. They should
Hmm.
be free to have the choice, and that if it's taken away from them, that's like literally a violation of rights
Yeah,
because
checks out.
they have the right to what happens to their body.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I've definitely had some variation on my views on it. I've always been pro-choice, but
Hmm.
I feel like there's, as with any good political issue, like different variants on it, and
Right.
that when Roe v. Wade was overturned, I definitely got more educated, and I think I became more pro-choice, which at a time when it's not good to be, not fun to be pro-choice, but
Hmm.
I think it was at the point when I realized that you know the argument was made that banning abortions doesn't really stop abortions; it just makes them less safe,
Right.
um, and it's kind of just like a part of society, and women, no matter what law you put out there, are gonna want to make that decision themselves,
Hmm.
and at the end of the day, it's just, for me, I think I have a moral, I have an ethical point of view that, a life living is more important than a life unborn.
Mm-hmm.
Because, people have way more attachment to a mother than an unborn baby.
Right.
Um, and women are dying. And I just don't think it's worth it. And it's like the legislature currently in place in a lot of places in America seems completely backwards, and there's a lot of you're not protected if you go to a state where you can get one legally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're still it's liable in your state of residence, and it's just I don't
Right.
know. It just seems really scary, and it always seems to me that a majority of women, this is a women's issue, seem pro-choice,
Mm-hmm.
and we should probably listen to that.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think that's
if
my
it's
point of
like
view.
if it's a decision-making process that involves someone, you should probably involve that person in the
Like,
decision.
I would feel uncomfortable if a lot of like a majority female government made legislature about penises or scrotums or things exclusive to men.
Right.
Like that would make me feel underrepresented, disenfranchised, and when literal lives are at stake, I it's
Yeah.
it seems extremely backwards to me.
I agree. Because that's like something I think we touched on in the podcast episode without like saying too much, but because people might still want to listen to that.
Yeah,
Is
where can we find that, Jevons? Plug that.
yeah, I mean yeah, that's kind of it. But
Link in the description, guys.
it's a good episode. It's actually one of our most listened ones.
Oh, lovely.
But it's like we. I don't think the choices like the decision is just like one or the other. There's no right answer. I think it's somewhere in between of what people are saying. Because there's things that, like I said, all three of us had different opinions on it. I was one way, Ethan was another, and Noah, he was kind of he was kind of neutral.
Yeah.
And so it's like a lot of the points my friend Ethan was making, I understood like that. It made sense to me. But like some people aren't even willing to listen to the other side, regardless of what side you're on.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not how you make progressive choices, you know?
Exactly.
Well, guess we got a little bit preachy there, but that's alright.
It's, it's fine. We can always edit it out.
You can always edit it out.
You get the old preachometer out in post and be like, this is too
It's like,
much?
no, like, I'm sure like everything we just talked about there is nothing more than what we talked about in the
I mean,
podcast. So
yeah, no one has to agree with
yeah,
my opinions.
if
I
you
mean,
don't
I'm
if you
talking
don't
about
agree
U.S.
with
legislature, and I've only been there once for like a week,
right,
so like it's never really going to impact me so much,
mm-hmm,
especially as a man. So it's no
right,
one has to care what I think. If you disagree, just remember what I think doesn't matter. Like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
if you have a strong opinion about it, your opinion probably matters more than mine.
yeah.
Um,
Like people are allowed to disagree. I think
yeah,
it's good to disagree with people because it lets you like learn different takes on things. I say because I have you know him Gons. Like
yeah,
there's definitely things that I disagree with him on, but like that doesn't mean I don't like him. He's like still my friend.
yeah,
Like yeah, we're gonna disagree on things. That's just how life is. No one's ever gonna 100% agree on every single thing.
yeah. And if you get argumentative about politics, you run the risk of you can very quickly alienate even your quote unquote allies because, again, you're not going to agree on anything,
Mm-hmm.
on everything. So it's going to be, if you get argumentative about it, someone who agrees with you on 99% of your of your views, you could fall out with them, you could have an argument, you could lose them as a friend over what 1% of your political views. It's not worth it, is it? Like
Right. Yeah, it's like, I think it's like I've definitely learn to see things in a different light, having talked to people who see things differently. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like some things some people will bring up, and I'm like, I never thought of it that way. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. And I've definitely had like worldviews that I was thinking about one I had the other day, and I was just like, that was stupid. Like that did me no favors as a person, like at all whatsoever. Like that actively harmed me. Like that was a toxic mindset, and I'm glad I've grown out of it because,
Mm-hmm.
dear Lord, like it wasn't good. It wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for the people around me. I don't think either. Not that they mentioned anything because they were polite, but
Right. I get what you're saying. Uh,
and yeah, an echo chamber is a very dangerous thing, I think.
yeah, for sure. Because it's like you're just being around those people with the same views, the same ideas as you. You're not gonna like if you have an idea that's not good, not beneficial to you or others, and people are just like echoing that idea, it's not gonna end well.
Yeah.
So I totally get that.
Hmm.
Do we have a ladder? Yeah, we do. Okay. I couldn't
Yes. Oh, you got
find
it. You got it.
anything up there. This is really strange. This the way this roof is angled. Sorry. But it's so strange with this game. It's like sometimes you'll go on like really deep conversations, right? And other
Yeah.
times you're just like, it was zombies existed.
I feel like we've had a nice little range of conversations. We've discussed like the most politically dividing thing in the world at the minute, arguably.
Right.
And then we've also talked about, having to play sports in the rain.
Yeah. It's like that's not like it doesn't
And
matter.
stuff, you know. It's
It's a very different topic. It's like, yeah, you gotta play sports in the rain. Oh well, there's worse things that you could possibly happen to you. It's just like it's kind of it's just a little bit inconvenient, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do like love a good like moan, a bit of a whinge. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's very cathartic. Obviously, not too much because then you get like a reputation, and also it's not a good thing to like do too much. But
Right.
oh my god, like when something's been bothering you and you can just open up to someone about it and have them like listen and understand, it's an amazing experience.
For
10 out
sure.
of 10. That's going to be my first good TripAdvisor review of this recording.
Alright.
That's
That's good to hear.
moaning.
Moaning is a good tip advisor. I mean, take that how you
Five
want.
stars from Chonky. Yeah, take that in any context you want, guys. Any context.
uh, I mean,
Chonky,
when you're like, I
oh
love having a good moan. I'm like, should I make that joke? Should I?
no.
And it turns out I should.
It's always.
I didn't know there was a weather vane on this house. I was climbing on the roof and I found a weather vane.
I did. I managed to spray it from a distance, but I don't think I got like rust off.
Yeah, it's still like half clean. There's also stuff on the top somehow. Like, how are these houses so dirty? You know?
That is, I mean, I see it sometimes, but again, like they never give you an easy job on this, do they?
No,
Like
they
even like the
don't.
vehicles are absolutely caked in manure.
It's like
Like
there isn't one person who's like, yeah, I got a little bit. I spilled a drink on my patio and it stained it. Can you clean that? I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, $5 job.
I don't know if I'd want to do it for $5.
Yeah, fair. It's like that's not worth my time. Like I have people who want me to clean entire buildings for them with just a power wash.
For $600.
And some of those like late game jobs, so they give you a lot of money for them. Like, my
Oh
goodness.
really?
Yeah,
Is it? I assume they're like more work, right?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I currently have like $5,000 in this game,
Nice.
so I'm basically a rich guy in this game. Except there's like
Oh,
nothing else to buy, so
don't
it's
flex on me much, Jevons. Jeez.
yeah. I have literally every like upgrade that you could possibly think of in this game, and it's like I'm just
Uh,
using a pretty like basic nozzle. Like you see the yellow nozzle that I've got.
yeah, the 15-degree one.
This is my best nozzle.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Let me get this for you.
jeez. It's like a laser.
Yeah, it's just cuts through everything. It's so fun.
Yeah. It's,
I don't even have an
I,
extension on it
I,
either. Because then you can get extenders too. So it's like,
oh yeah, I haven't. Oh my god. You're like the dude who brings his own paintball gun to the paintball arena.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the best
why.
equipment, guys.
That,
Cracks knuckles.
that's why I typically stick to the yellow one. It's just like, if I use the best thing, it's just done instantly.
You're using less equipment to milk content.
You know what? I don't deny it.
So say what you want about him, but he's an honest man, that Jevons.
Yeah. Oh, this timber thing. I thought it was the roof that was cleaning there.
Gamer, honest man.
Yeah?
Likes Kingdom Hearts.
What would you put for my channel as your trip advisory?
Your channel? To be
Yes.
fair, I feel like I must be in like top 5, top 3 watches, right? Maybe?
That's good to hear.
I've watched like a lot of your streams. I still like. Yeah, I'll tell you what I would say about your stream is like I have a distinct and fond memories of it, so
Hmm.
it
That's good to
can't be
hear.
that bad. Like I'll never forget just like calculating how many times you were
Uh,
gonna need to like bonk Alduin with a wooden sword.
yeah, yeah.
Like that stuck with me, Jebins. The collective insanity you caused was.
Yeah. It wasn't just me who was suffering too, it's you also had to suffer for it.
I know. I was just sat there like, what is he doing? Is he okay? Like,
No.
who would voluntarily do this to themselves?
Yeah, and I've seen like challenge runs where they like, can you beat Sky with a wooden sword? And they just like completely exploit it, so they're doing like insta kills with the wooden sword. I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's not the same thing.
You didn't even want to upgrade the wooden sword at all, right?
I
In
think
the
I
end
I
you
think I
did.
upgraded it once with the
Yeah.
smithing, but like that was low level smithing too, so it's not even like it was that much better. It might have been as good as fists at that point.
So yeah, I forget it's worse than punching.
Yeah. Like punching as a normal person, not even punching as like a Khajiit or a
Yeah.
Argonian who have better punching skills.
Yes. No, one of my favorite Skyrim playthroughs started as like a punching only, but it kind of just turned into a playthrough because I was having so much fun with it.
Right.
Like, just like the classic Khajiit in heavy armor with like the enchants and stuff. It was genuinely just so much fun for some reason.
That's
Right.
fair.
Um.
Like I said, that's what happened with my level 1 run. It's just like it was a lot of fun, so I ended up doing a lot more than just not level 1, 1 HP one. Because it became a lot of fun, which it doesn't sound like it would be a lot of fun. It's like, why would you willingly play with 1 HP as your max HP? But
Yeah,
I
I found
enjoyed
that
it.
strange because like, can't you take like accidental, just like a tiny little fall damage by like stepping on a plate or
Yeah,
something?
you get kicked, you kick a pile of bones and you're just dead.
Yay!
So,
Right, how much more?
but like, that didn't happen too often to me, with, funnily enough. It was just like, every now and then it would happen, which
It's
is
good.
nice.
Because I remember I saw You watched Doug Doug, don't you?
Yeah, I watched a lot of his
I think he
stuff.
did like a 1 HP thing,
Yeah,
and I remember him just
he,
like
he did it.
dying
He
so
did it
much.
worse than me though because he like had a punishment reel from it too.
Yeah, didn't he like eat Danny DeVito?
He ate a piece of cardboard Danny DeVito. He put mayonnaise on his head. There was a lot of stuff happened in that video. Like that's one of the YouTubers that I watch all their videos, like every single one that comes
Yeah,
out, because they're
yeah,
just so creative with what they've got.
exactly. Also, for me, another big part of it is that like when YouTubers have like a really busy upload schedule, I tend to watch them less than like ones that will upload like once a month, because the
Right.
once a month stuff's always like,
It's better
you know,
quality.
yeah, and they have so much time to work on it, edit it, come up with good ideas.
Right.
I'm a big fan of like the quality over quantity approach,
Yeah.
because I feel like the quantity approach is so like common and
So there's a
like so
reason for it that why it's so common. Um, deep in the
algorithm.
algorithm, it's better if they have a video every day because then YouTube's like, oh, this person uploads a lot, so here they're gonna put it out a lot. And then if they don't upload it that much, they're like, well, this probably isn't someone who's gonna make us that much money, so we're not gonna put them out as much.
Mm,
So there is that. But I agree with what you're saying. Is like I like watching things that are like, it's better quality, but it's less videos.
mm.
It is like we're at 99%. We don't even have it limited down to three things.
Going for that achievement you mentioned earlier. I forgot what it was called already.
Uh, Good things to come.
Good things to come.
Sounds so wrong though. Like saying it out loud. Oh, there's a side gable roof frame. Whatever that means. Yeah. But yeah, it's good to hear that you have distinct memories of good things in my streams because like sometimes I'm like, I think it's pretty bland. I guess everyone is their worst critic, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I definitely yeah, I always whenever I think of your channel, I always think back to Wooden Sword Skyrim for some reason. Just like I think it was at that moment I realized that you may be insane, but also it
It,
was entertaining.
I may be, you're absolutely right. It's definitely a possibility.
Is that?
Is like I admit that most people probably would see the challenge. Like, someone would be like, "Hey, I challenge you to do this," and they're like, "No, that's a stupid idea," and I'd be like, "Yeah, it's doable.
That's
I can do
got a
that."
can-do attitude. I I
There,
cannot get this door clean for the
there's
life
been
of me. It's
challenges
driving me
too
insane.
that people have like said to me, and I think about it. I'm like, "No, that can't be possible," and then I'm like, "Well, maybe."
Yeah, I think that well maybe is just like so much of the fun of just like, wait, can we do this? How would we do this?
Hmm. There was a like so in Kingdom Hearts in the data battles I'm doing, right? That's bosses I'm on. They're probably some of the toughest bosses in the series. Like not even in that game, but in the entire series. And
Yeah.
so I remember I was talking to someone I think last night or the night before, where they're like, "What if you did it without blocking?" I'm like, "No, that can't be possible." And I was like, "Well, maybe if you guarded a lot, it's possible." Or maybe if you dodged a lot, it could be potentially possible. I'm like, nope, nope, stop that. That's where a bad idea comes from.
It's, doesn't matter if it's a bad idea, or whether it's a fun idea.
I got the door, by the way. I saw what
Oh,
you
thank
were
you.
struggling to clean. It was not easy to spot.
Okay, good. Oh,
Yeah.
something real stupid
Like,
then.
it was like a
Um,
pixel you could see if you hit tab.
that's delightful.
Yeah.
All right, what have we still not got done? How's it?
Yeah, how is it not
Windowsill is
99%?
94. Are they like dirty on the bottom side?
Let me look at the thing.
Oh
So
yeah, I found it.
we need to clean timber frames still, wooden windowsills.
I got one of the timber frames at least.
Okay. Back eaves, Eaves. Do you know what that word is?
Eaves.
Eaves. That's not how you spell Eve. There's no A in Eve.
Pretty sure there is.
I guess in that context, what does that even mean? I've
Yeah,
never seen that word in that context. I've
I
seen it
know
as
it's
a
a part
name.
of a building, but I actually don't know what part.
Interesting. Maybe it's like a UK word because this game isn't American. It's UK.
Oh, I knew I liked it for a reason.
You liked it for a reason.
National anthem plays in the background.
Is your national anthem actually good? Because ours isn't.
You stole our national anthem for a
Did we?
patriotic song.
That's crazy.
Yeah. If you, I can't sing, so I can't tell you what it is. Like, give you an example. But I know there's definitely like an American patriotic song that uses the tune,
Hmm.
of our national anthem because like when America got independence, like obviously they needed a new national anthem, but they didn't go for like British but reworded, but they needed like patriotic songs and stuff, and everyone already knew the tune to the British national anthem.
Really?
So yeah, they just did new words to it to like raise. It's,
Huh.
I remember seeing a clip of it. At it was played at I think Obama's inauguration.
Hmm.
So it's like that kind of level of a thing. Um,
I see. I didn't know that.
but yeah, it'll probably be vaguely familiar.
What is this last timber frame?
I
This timber
don't
frame? Oh, that
remember.
is. Okay. That might it might be one of those corner ones. Like a lot of the times you just like run it around this area.
Yeah,
It's just being like, where is it?
I wish there was like a warmer, colder thing for dirt that activated when you're on 99%. Like
Right.
you could see when you got closer or further away from it. Oh,
Oh, where was it?
it was like on the floor by the ladder.
I thought it was probably on the floor. So what's so back eaves? Oh, I think what is that? That's I don't. Okay. Well, I figured what it was, but I don't.
What's the side eve?
It's probably on
Is
the
it
other
this?
side. Ah, here it is. There we go. We did it.
Ace. Time lapse time.
Oh
Woo!
yes. So satisfying. Are you pushing me?
No,
I don't believe you. I love
I
how
actually was.
I
I actually
love
wasn't.
how I ask you if you're pushing me, and I just see you run off.
I wasn't pushing you. I was spraying you. It's totally different.
Oh yeah, totally a different thing.
Uh-huh. Wait, why does it say 99% on my end?
It says on my end too. I don't know, but it says it's completed, but also 99%. It's strange.
Hey,
But
good
yeah,
job, game.
I think we've done quite a few now, so I think we can call it here.
Oh yeah. I was thinking that's
Um,
probably about time.
but yeah. So if you guys liked watching me and Chonky play this game, you can check out his Twitch. He may be live eventually. Who knows?
Thanks, man.
Uh, link will be in the description, and you can check out my Twitch. You can also check out the podcast that I mentioned earlier. Um, and that should be it. Catch you guys next time.
Like and subscribe.